Viewers, I agree too. Well, we want to look at talent language development, and there is one man I know who studied at the University of Education, Wundengba. He did green, so he know more, has knowledge when it comes to language development, and he's here to help us look at the talent language. And so he is called Reverend Patrick Boazii. Reverend, you're welcome.
Thank you very much, my brother.
Well, I would want you to introduce yourself well to our viewers.
Well, just as you mentioned, my name is Patrick Boazii. If you add the Reverend, I'll take it because I'm a pastor.
You have to take it.
Of the Assemblies of God Church in Palagu,
Okay.
and I'm also a teacher. And I'm married with kids.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, that's all. I also know that you studied in the university.
Well,
so you are a graduate.
I can say I'm a pocket linguist.
Okay.
Because it's part of my aspirations to pursue language to the latter.
Wow.
And in fact, by the grace of God, should Christ tarry, we shall pursue language.
So, Reverend, is language that important? And how is it important to the native speaker?
Language is very important in that language is you.
Language is me.
Yes.
Is you.
Language is you.
Okay.
If I should, it's just like asking, who are you? The first thing you ought to say is, I'm a Talensi person.
Okay.
It is language that identifies you. And that is why even people's native language run into their English language.
Okay.
If certain tribes begin to speak English, you will see their language in that English grammar.
Okay.
If a Frafra man speaks English, clearly you just know that it's a Frafra man.
It's a Frafra man.
Language is the individual. It's rather unfortunate that people lately are running away from their native languages. You see people travel a little, and all you see or hear them do is trying to speak a language that they don't belong to. And in fact, some of them, to the extent that they don't just even want to be identified with the language they belong.
Is it the reason of so many borrowed words in languages?
Not just that. You have people in Bari here, where we are seated, in the Upper East region, speaking Twi.
Okay.
You have people, you board a car from one town in Bolga to the other, and all you hear people do is to speak another person's language.
But how is that one?
You see, that's why I started by saying that language is you.
Okay.
Now, if you begin to identify yourself as somebody you are not, it means that you are faking your own life.
Maybe speaking other people's language does not necessarily mean.
Of course.
Just like what we are doing now, we are speaking.
Of course.
The base language.
Yes, I have learned to speak Twi. I've been trying to speak Twi. I speak Twi somehow, but you see, when somebody tries to find out who you are, maybe by virtue of the tribal marks and other things that they can see in you that are visible, yet you still wish not to be identified with that language. That is where the problem is. Language is very important, because it is language that makes life easy.
Okay.
It is language that will help you find your way out if you have to do what you have to do. In business, there's a use of language. In ICT, there's a use of language. In every spheres of life, there's language. And so no one can make it in life without language.
Without language.
Yes.
So if you have no interest of your language, what happens to it?
Then you are lost.
You endanger it.
You are lost. Your language would have been endangered. In fact, our children are in trouble because parents nowadays don't even speak their own language to their children. You hear a father forcing the child to start his or her language in English or other languages. So the child learns to speak English, but when it comes to his or her own language, the child, so that it means that the child will have to take his or her own native language as the L2.
So the L1 is very, very important.
Very important, because in fact it will even help in learning better.
Okay. But let's look at this. I know you studied Gruni. You know the Gruni orthography as far as that language is concerned. Have you come across Taleng orthography?
As far as I'm concerned, maybe I have not researched wide.
Okay.
But as far as I'm concerned, I haven't seen any. I've done a little research trying to find out who did what in Taleng. You may have few materials that talks about Taleng, but as far as I'm concerned, orthography, no.
Well, let's try to identify some.
Yes,
Some of the orthography, like the vowels, the consonants.
Yeah.
We'll look at the diphthongs, the free variation, and all that. But let's begin with the vowels. How many vowels do we have in Taleng? Well, you think we have in Taleng?
I would want viewers to understand that what we are going to do now cannot be set to be the finality of it. We are initiating this so that whoever has interest in developing this language, developing this language will help us in varied ways. Okay. We would have been able to put together our own Taleng language Bible and other materials. So what we are going to do is just the initiation. And so if anybody has any input to whatever we are going to say, should avail him or herself. But I, in my own way, think that we should have about 7 written vowels. Okay. And there is the 8th one that I think can be replaced with another vowel in writing. Though in spoken it's clearly different. But in the written form, I would suggest that we use another vowel to replace it. And I would state that in my submission. So the first vowel, just as it is in any other language, is ah. 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 That's the A alphabet. The sound of it is ah. Okay. And in Taleng, we have several words that has that in wordings, such as la, meaning to laugh. Okay. La, meaning to laugh. You hear the ah sound adding to the o sound. So that clearly is there in Taleng. Ma, mother. You have the ah sound, you know, adding to the sound. So that means it is there in the Taleng language. You have a word like pa, pa, to nail. So you have the ah sound also occurring. You also have a word like da. These are just basic words that you can clearly, yes, to buy. You can clearly hear the ah sound occurring. Then the next vowel sound that I think we should have is E.
E.
E. That is the E English alphabet. E in Taleng. So you have several Taleng words that has that sound coloring the word. So words like limb, taste, yes, to taste. You have the A sound, la, le, limb. So you have the A sound occurring. Then you have another word like tip, tip, to heal. Yes.
Tip more.
To heal somebody of whatever disease. Then you have a word like me, mame, also. And so in that word, you have the A sound clearing.
I thought build.
Well, that is me. That has a different vowel sound occurring, but the word is me, mame, me too, or also. Also, a word like bim, to invite somebody to eat with you. So you see that clearly the A sound is occurring in those words. These are just basic words that we are looking at. But there are other words that as we begin to develop the word, you may have them occurring.
So
Then
that's the second one.
That's the second one.
Okay.
The third one is the sound. Is
The
in
confused
Taleng. Well, that's how people call it. Yeah. So in words like set, to plant.
To plant.
Yes. You see the sound there. Then
Samtela.
yes. Then other words like nen or nen mami. Nen. To cheat. You see that you have the sound occurring in that word. Yes, or nen.
Okay.
Yes. Then you have another word like ye. Ye, to wear. To wear something. Yeah, parabla. So you hear the sound occurring there. That is the third vowel. There's even another word called be. Be or beme. The be can be used in two ways. Be can means greedy. Somebody who is greedy. Be can also mean to close something or to cover something. A be'eduk or be'dukla, to cover or to close. So in that one too, you hear the sound. That is the third one. Then the fourth vowel sound is E. In English alphabet, that is I. The I in English alphabet. The sound is E. E. Words in Taleng such as D. To eat. You hear clearly the E sound there. Ki. Millet. You hear it there. Gi. To hold. Gi. You hear the E sound there. Then you have me. Drizzling. When the rain drizzles, it's like me. So you hear clearly the E sound. Then you have another word like P. To bury. You have it there. Then you have another word like fip. To fan. You have the E sound also occurring in there. Then the fifth one I identified is O. The O sound, that is the O in the English alphabet. So you have words like dol. Dolimna, dol. So you hear the O to follow someone. You hear the O sound there. Then you have a word like pull. To buy foodstuff like grain. Polki. So you have such.
So buy and pola, are they the same?
Yes. You see, when you run out of foodstuff and you are asked to go to the market to buy grain, the Taleng word you use is Pol. Tianate poliki. Tianate polikariena. You hear that?
So the same thing as buy.
Buy, yes. Of course, if you go and pull, you must pay.
Okay.
And so there's buying in there. Then you also have another word is in Taleng called vol. Vol. To swallow. So vol. You hear the O sound also occurring in there. You have another word like loop. Loop. To throw. Loop. You hear the O sound also in there. So that means O is also a vowel sound in Taleng. Good. Now, the safe one is O. O. Yeah, so O is also in Taleng because we have it in words such as mon. To stare, tz. Mon. So you hear the O sound there. Then you also have a word like nom. Nomenzomla. That is, you can also nom nimbing. That's to massage. So it's there in Taleng. Then you have a word like zo. Zo. A friend. Yes. You hear the O sound also occurring in there. You also have a word like sock. Sock menu. Sock and lala. To rains. Yeah. So you have the O sound also occurring in there. Then for to be blinded. Or for me. You have it there. Yes. Then you have a word like fork. Remove. Yima. Fork. Thank you. Forkma. And so you have it there. Then you also have a word like mock. Mock. Termites. The termites we use to feed our chicks. So you clearly hear the O sound.
The O vowel is in Taleng.
Is there in Taleng.
That we can use.
Yes. Yes. The seventh and the eighth one that I suggest that we can use the two in the spoken language, but use one to stand in place of the other. Is the
written language.
The U and the O. U and O. U and O. U, that's the U in the English alphabet. But the O is not actually part of the English alphabet, but it's being used widely among several Ghanaian language speakers. We can use the two in our spoken language.
The spoken language.
But in writing,
we use one.
I suggest we use the U to stand in place of itself. And then
I know of Grune. No, we don't even use.
Yes, I think Grune has also agreed to do that.
But Kusal, they also have
Kusal, yes, they have.
Do they use it?
They use it in both writing
and
spoken.
Okay.
But this is to avoid certain level of confusion as the language grows. Even writing it alone is not easy. The O sound in particular.
Okay.
So, in language, well, as we grow, once it's dynamic, somebody can come up tomorrow and say, no, we have to use it. But for now, I think that we agree with what the Gruni speakers says, that indeed, though it is being used in our spoken language, but as an orthography, something that we are all agreeing to work with.
So let's avoid it.
Let's avoid it, the confusion in their writing. Okay, so that we'll use the U, that's the U English alphabet, to stand for the two of them. But I will still mention words that it is in there.
So as you mentioned the words, let me remind our viewers that we are looking at the Taleng language development. And here with me is Reverend Patrick Boazii. My own name is Reverend John Wundengba. Okay, Reverend, you continue
so the
from
next sound.
That's the
just
seventh
as I
and the
have
eighth.
indicated is the U, and so the U and the O. U, O, O, U, O. So those are the two sounds. So in U you have words like muk, to force somebody to do something. Muk. So you hear the U sound in the middle. Then you have another word like duk, duk, to frown. Dugunur. Duk. So you have the U sound.
What of a room? Duk.
Duk, yeah, that's, in the language, you can have one word that can stand in for several other things. Yeah. So duk nur, duk, good. So to frown, and then
also
a room.
Duk.
Yes.
Duk.
Yes, and also to swim.
Swim.
Perfect. Yeah, right. So you also have a word like uk, uk in Taleng, to raise somebody, or to rear.
To rear.
Thank you. So that's that. You also have another word like kum. Kum. The one that nobody wants to
hear.
Yes, dead.
Dead.
Yes, kum.
Kum.
Right. And then you have another one like book. Book. Book, to get drunk.
Book.
To get drunk. Or if you put a hole on your shoulder. Yes. Thank you. Then with the O sound, you have a word in Taleng like bo. Bo. So you see that you are not hearing bo. You are hearing bo. You are not also hearing bo. You are hearing bo. To beat somebody. Bo. So you have
bo.
Yes.
Bo.
Yes. Then you also have another word like one. To look. Yes. One. So you are hearing one. Then you have another one like lo, to tie something. Lo. Lombola. Lo. That's also there. Then you have another one like two.
To buckle.
Yes.
To dig.
Yes. Yes. So those are some of the words that we have using the O sound in Taleng. But just like I was saying, if we all agree that yes, we have them in our spoken language, but the U can stand for the two, so that a speaker reading will know that, yes,
know which one is being used here.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. So these are the vowel sounds we have. So we have 7 written vowel sounds, and the 8th one is used in the spoken language. So